What's up, everybody? John Eric Pauli here with My MMA News, and today's guest just defeated Mandy Bohm by unanimous decision at UFC London. I am pleased today to be joined by Victoria Leonardo. Victoria, thanks for doing this. Really appreciate the time, and first time we're doing one of these. We're looking forward to today's conversation.
Thank you for having me on. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, no problem at all. So it was your first UFC victory, so congratulations on that. I'm sure the emotions have to be extremely happy at the moment. Before we get into any of that, though, I do want to just back up to this past weekend, UFC 277. You were there for it. You saw a great card. Just what was that experience like of being able to just take in a great UFC event instead of being a part of one for a change?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. It's always fun to sit back and watch the fights, and there's just something electric and exciting about, experience and being a part of the crowd. It's like sometimes you don't get to enjoy that as much when you're making the walkout, even though you feel it. You're battling nerves and thinking about your upcoming fight or whatever. So it's nice to be able to experience that from a fan's perspective.
I bet it definitely is something a little bit different for you too, there, like we said. And now let's get into everything about your victory here, which happened the week before there. So, like I said before, right, your first win inside of the octagon. Just what was that moment like for you when you got to hear Bruce Buffer announce your name and kind of get to be on that happy celebrating side inside of the octagon?
It was definitely awesome. It felt like a culmination of all that I've been working for, and we experienced some hiccups in my last two fights, with back to back arm breaks, and it was just a difficult hurdle to climb over. But being there and getting my hand raised, it was just awesome. There's probably no, I can't probably express it well enough in words, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that too. I'm sure, like, just from an emotional standpoint too, given everything that you went through with those broken arms, just to be able to come back. I mean, that's such a long road and a long journey. Just what were the emotions like for? Obviously, we know that it was happy. We've discussed that, but was there any bit of like tears or anything like that, given this whole entire road and journey that you've been on?
I mean, I thought I might cry. I don't know. There's definitely maybe a little welling in the eyes. I'm not a big crier, but yeah, it was definitely uh, almost bittersweet moment because it's all of those negative emotions and all that patience and just such a long road, but definitely happy that my arm held up. There are no new breaks. It's good, it's healthy, and we got the victory. So that's all that's important.
Is that arm like biotic by now that you have some breaks in it there?
No, I mean there's a gnarly scar. I don't know if I'm showing it very well from about here to here. We have no metal in the arm anymore because I probably explained this to everybody, but the first break happened right about here, and so we got a plate that was about this big. And for people that don't know, your bones are actually kind of flexible. So when you get a metal plate in there, when you are doing something, like MMA, where there's this big risk of torque and pressure, it can create a fulcrum. So in the second fight, we believe at some point in the pummeling, there was enough torque put on the arm that it broke right above the plate. The plate created that specific, situation for the break. And so we didn't want that to happen again. We got another plate to put in that was about that big for the second break. And we went ahead and had that removed before my last fight. So it was actually three surgeries when everything was said and done, because we didn't want to have another arm break experience, any kind of discomfort because of the metal in there. We just wanted to get it all taken out. So there's nothing left. It's all bone.
How's like the healing process with all of that too? Is that like a very long thing, like a lot of pain and everything, or is it kind of pretty quick recovery process for it?
I mean, it wasn't super painful. The surgery, getting cut open is always painful, but it was just patience on my part. Both times that it broke, I still was in the best shape of my life. I have a lot of muscle in there, and it was, it would have been easy for me to be like, okay, I can go ahead and go. But my doctor, wanted the bone to heal, make sure that I stay off of it and be patient and, work through all that, not get back into it too quickly. So it was like, and then having the surgery to remove it, it was like, I got to a point where I could train again, and then I had to get the plate taken out. So then I had to go into recovery again. I actually, to probably lead into another thing you wanted to ask me about, my arm had just healed and I had the new plate in when Andrea was about to fight Cynthia Cavillo. So I actually had enough recovery time to come back and train with her a little bit before that fight. And then she went and fought, and then I had my surgery like in the next couple of months to remove the plate. So I actually got to help her a little bit for that fight, which I took one of her teep kicks, and I was like, ooh, that hurts. I think she landed one of those in the fight, and I could tell Cynthia didn't like it.
I'm sure your arm didn't like it either. What's wrong with Andrea kicking you in the arm? She should have known better. Come on,
No, kicking me in the teep kick in the body.
Yeah, next time I talk to her, I have to have a conversation with her about that. I can't believe she would do something like that. But anyway, let's talk about something other than some broken arms here. Let's talk about this fight here a little bit in detail. I do want to get into a bit of a round-by-round breakdown so we kind of paint the picture for everybody in case they missed something here. We'll start, obviously, opening round of the fight. You come out and no surprise at all, right? You want to clinch with her. You're able to do that. I know the fans might not have been happy. I heard a lot of like those woo chants. They were pretty brutal too. Like it was early, like only like 30 seconds in and they were wooing at you there.
I know. Did the same thing in Dallas. I'm like, gosh, they just got against the cage. You guys relax.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, let you guys work. Yeah, that's
He actually
seriously. Let you
pushed
guys
me
work.
against the cage. I think our first exchange wrestling in that clinch, she pushed me against the cage and I reversed it. So it was weird to me that she wanted to push the fight there. But if you go back and watch, that's what happened.
Yes, so let's start from there. Obviously, so in this opening round, right, she kind of pushes you back into the cage. Just talk about that, right? Surprising right there, and then kind of take us through that rest of the round because you were able to obviously, control a little bit of time there, get a takedown towards the end to obviously steal the round there, which you were winning anyway.
Yeah, I really felt I didn't push it to the cage yet myself because I kind of felt pretty comfortable on my feet. I felt like I was slipping punches and I was landing more solidly than she was. And then we clinched up and she initiated. And I just did what felt natural there. And it's kind of one of my strengths. It always has been. I was a little, disappointed that I let her get back up after the takedown. I think I kind of was rushing a little bit to get to a 2-on-1 with her arm behind her back. And she was able to get back up, but it felt good to be able to get the takedown anyway. And, we found out she'd been training at Extreme Couture for months and months and months. So, her wrestling definitely improved probably from her last fights, but it makes me feel good to know that and to still have been able to get her down.
All right, so now let's go to the second round here, right? A lot of the same, a lot of clinch work and all that. I do want to ask from this part, though. It was late in the round. She landed a knee. Were you affected by that at all? And then right after that round, too, I know you were getting some ice put on the leg. There was some swelling there. Did all of that kind of all take place in that second round? What was going on with all that there?
Yeah, in between round 1 and 2, I felt really good. My energy levels felt amazing. And then I actually took a body kick right before the knee. So took a body kick. I went to close the distance. I think the body kick hurt a little bit more than, was uncomfortable for sure, more than the knee. The knee wasn't that bad because I think, I was pushing her back. She lost her balance a little bit, wasn't as powerful. I feel like, she was definitely hammering my leg. I was trying to counter with the right hands, but sometimes it would hit clean and sometimes she would move out of the way of it. I'm not a big checker, but I like to counter with the right hand when people throw those leg kicks. So she was definitely, I think maybe from her perspective, that was one of her shots that was really landing. So she, went all out on it. And, I just tried to stay calm, and I knew it would hurt the next day, but it didn't affect me that much in the fight.
And then let's get into the last round here. Then obviously, right, she was going to come out with some sense of urgency. Her corner was, I don't know if all you were able to hear, but I know they said on the broadcast, like they were telling her, stay away from the cage, get the combinations off. You wouldn't allow, obviously, any of that. You were able to smother her, really work that clinch game, get that late takedown. Just talk about strategically that round and kind of how that all played out for you.
Yeah, I think, well, one thing with the overall fight is we expected her from her previous UFC fight to maybe circle and be a little bit more evasive in her footwork, but she seemed to come to me, during most of the fight, and I was able to be the one kind of circling and moving away. And so, I just traditionally in my fights, I've done pretty good when people come to meet me in the middle. So I loved that she was trying to pressure me, and I knew that it would eventually lead us to getting back to the cage. And yeah, it felt good to finally get that takedown. I wish I had more time on the ground. I let loose a little bit with my punches, probably a little quicker than I would have had I had more time, but I knew I wanted to get some in before the bell rang.
And now, what's the next thing for you here? I know fighters sometimes don't necessarily like this question, but I know all the fans want to know it out there. Do you have anything maybe in mind for the rest of the year that you're obviously, still celebrate this first win, but do you want to get inside of there before the end of the year, or just kind of see how things go?
Yeah, I would like to get a fight November, maybe early December. I'd love to get one more fight in before the end of the year, but we'll have to see if it happens. It happens. That would be great. I'm not. I'd love for it to happen. I don't know, but we'll see. We don't have any word yet on anything coming up.
Gotcha. Now I do want to ask you about something that you did allude to earlier, friendship with Andrea Lee. Andrea's a friend of mine too. I've had her on several times for interviews. She's really fun. I was like busting her too about her social media posts, and I'm sure she probably gets a lot of flack from fans for a lot of the things that she posts there. But what's it been like calling her a friend and a training partner, and what's it been like having her in your corner?
Oh, it's great. Well, for one thing, me and Andrea go pretty far back. I started my amateur career at her gym, due to circumstances I won't get into here. I walked away. I actually met my husband through that gym, and then went and trained at his gym. So, I owe her for that, for, my marriage. And then, we were able to start training again together more, consistently, because she decided to start doing camps at home instead of traveling so much, and it's been good. Of course, it's great to work with a ranked flyweight, someone my size. We discussed, me and my husband, who's my head coach, we discussed going to London, and I was like, it would be nice to have someone that I could really work with in the back before my fight. So he's a little bit bigger than me. It's hard to get my hands in certain positions and like tight waists and stuff like that, because he's not built like a woman. So we were like, hey, let's bring Andrea, see if she'll come to London with us. And we were getting a little sparring match in before my fight, because every fighter's different, but for me, I like to be fully awake going into the first round. I don't feel like I'm waking up. Sometimes you have that moment where you get hit in the first round and you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I'm in a fight. So I didn't have that this fight, because we got thoroughly warmed up in the back, got to move around a lot with her, and I think it really helped my fight.
And she didn't kick you in the arm this time, did she?
No, she didn't kick me in the arm.
And I did want to ask you too, with this friendship with Andrew, when you walked out, she kind of had a video camera from what I saw. You got the video on your Instagram, right? Was Bruce Buffer kind of dancing around? What song was it that was playing, and what was that kind of like done to Bruce Buffer to kind of jam out a little bit on camera there?
Yeah, so I've walked out to AC/DC, Shook Me All Night Long, quite a few times in my career. It's a classic, and I have Andrew to thank for getting that candid moment of Bruce Buffer busting a move while I'm trying to get my gear off. I was struggling too, trying to get over the gloves. So I would have never known that if she hadn't got that video. So it's pretty cool.
So it's actually funny that you come out to that song, because the first time I ever actually heard somebody ever come out to that song when they made a whole big thing. So a lot of times, like when you're watching fights on TV, you don't see a lot of the walkouts unless it's like a main event type of a thing. But Tyson Fury, when he fought Deontay Wilder for, it was the third fight, he came out to that song. I'm like, wow, that's a really good walkout song that I never even thought of there. How did you pick that as the walkout song?
Oh yeah, I've been walking out to that. I think probably like my last couple of amateur fights. So I was doing it before Tyson Fury. We kind of share a name, even though that's technically his last name, but my fight name.
Did, I think somebody needs to pay. Yeah, somebody needs to pay somebody copyright here. You have his last name. He's taking your walkout songs. You guys should kind of split something here, 50-50, huh?
Yeah.
So let's talk about this whole London experience, though, too, right? You're going overseas. Obviously, it's hard traveling over there. But I wanted to ask, I know obviously you're there for these business reasons. Did you get to sightsee at all, make a little trip out of it, make a little vacation or anything?
after my fight, we got to go pub hopping, and it's surprising to London. Not a lot of places stayed open that late for such a big, big city. You would think that they would stay open pretty late. So we were trying to find places that were open, but we had a good experience. We got to eat and drink and see some of the sights. I didn't get a whole lot of time, but it was still good. Love to go back and experience more of it.
Now, did you have to take your daughter with you out there? Obviously, your husband was there because he's your coach, but
No, I didn't take her with me. She
so she missed out on the nice international experience then.
maybe sometime in the future.
And what's that like for you too, right? Calling yourself not only a pro athlete, but being a mom too. It has to be, tough on double duty because a parent's life never ends there.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a balancing act. And, luckily for me, she's going to be 15 here in a month. And so, it's a little bit easier to, leave her with parents and stuff. It's not as much as a hassle as like when you have a very small child. So, but she loves it. She's always showing her friends videos and pictures of me, and it's funny.
All right, so now to close us out here, I do want to talk a little bit TV shows. I don't know how much TV you watch, but I want to talk some geographical locations here. A show that I just watched earlier this year took place in Louisiana. It was a made-up town of Bontemps, but it was close by to Shreveport, True Blood. Did you ever get to watch True Blood, the whole Louisiana thing there?
I don't think I have. They called it Bontemps, like Good Times. Is that what they called it?
That's I didn't even know that's what it stood for. I just knew it was called Bontemps, and it was a fake fictional town in Louisiana.
Yeah, that's I can't say the phrase right, but let the good times roll. And Cajun French is Bontemps is like the Cajun French version of that, good times. That's all I know about that. I haven't watched a whole lot of True Blood.
Yeah, okay. It's a lot like with vampires and werewolves, and it's like a love story, and I don't know if you like any of that stuff. But how about this one? Since you were born in New Jersey, you spent most of your life in Louisiana. But how about The Sopranos? Did the Jersey blood run to you for The Sopranos?
Yeah, I've definitely watched some Sopranos before.
Rate your Sopranos, I guess, fanship here. Are you a huge Sopranos fan, or just kind of watch it here or there?
I've watched it here or there. I'm not a huge fan. Far as mob type movies, I love the Goodfellas. That's one of my favorites.
Okay, yeah, Goodfellas is a good one. Yeah, well, Sopranos, they say it's like the best TV show of all time, and I agree. I'm kind of gonna start watching for the third time pretty soon.
Yeah,
here.
I sit down and watch it all together. I think that I kind of missed sometimes a series, if you catch it here or there, you just don't get the same experience. So.
Yeah, I'm awful at binge watching. The first time that I watched it, it took me 8 months to watch it because I'm absolutely awful when it comes to binge watching. But how about you? Are you better with it than I am? Can you sit there and try to watch something like that or no?
Yeah, I'm weird, and I like to schedule. Well, I don't love to binge watch stuff. I like to sit there and give myself something to look forward to every week. So if there's a series that I really like and they come out with a new season, I'll force myself to watch one episode a week so that it makes it last longer.
That's how I was with watching The Sopranos the first time. I only got one episode in a week. And I would highly recommend, if you get the chance to, I would absolutely recommend watching The Sopranos. You'll absolutely love it. But anyway, it's been great talking with you today. Really enjoyed today's conversation. We covered a lot of ground over the course of this interview here. Last thing before you roll out, social media so people know where to follow you at. You have any management, sponsors, coaches, teammates, whoever you gotta give shout outs to? Take it away. Floor is yours.
I'm terrible at my social media handles, so I won't do any of those because I'd have to look up what they're called. But they first round got me the fight, and it's been my management up to this point, so I'd like to thank them. Got a bunch of sponsors back in Shreveport, like Mike Tilton's Plumbing and Down Home Sausage. If you've ever been in Shreveport and or in Louisiana, you want to try some really good Cajun sausage, go check them out. And then got a lot of individual sponsors here and there, and I know I'm going to mess it up and forget some of them, but all of you guys have been a huge part of this, and I just want to thank you and thank my coaches and training partners. Have made me the fighter that I am today, and above all else, I want to thank God because He's blessed me to be able to do a job that I love and travel the world, and it's been really great. That's about it.
All right, Victoria, thanks so much for today's conversation. Really enjoyed it. Like I said before, we covered a lot of ground from talking about broken arms to the first UFC win, TV shows. Really enjoyed it. It was great meeting you, and thanks again for doing this. Really appreciate the time. Really appreciate all the viewers out there today too. Please, if you like today's interview, please go to the bottom, give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel as well, and keep going to MyMMANews.com. We have great stuff that comes out there every single day of the week, so make sure you guys have your tabs on the website as well. We'll see you later, everybody.